Today we're sketching a rainy scene on Roncesvalles Avenue. Here's a quick glimpse of how this sketch develops before taking you through the process. So I forgot my pencil, and so I had to jump right in with pen, and so trying to keep it really loose. I struggle with this because I don't get to put my measurements down before starting with the pen. On top of that, there was this really nice couple that went into the cafe, and the man was standing out with his umbrella and dog, and I wanted to get that in before they left. So I actually started with that figure before the houses, and you could see me struggling to get some measurements down and hope that the composition works out in the end. You can see there's lots of lines here and it's not super clean, but this is about taking you through my journey. So this is starting a sketch just with pen and trying to work as much as I can on location. So I'm in a little covered area just off the street, but still outside. And so that's sort of where I got to with the loose pen. You can see it's quite messy, but in the end I think it captures enough of the scene. And I actually get some watercoloring done on location too, which I was pretty happy about. It is more difficult than working in my home with my desk. So I'm putting a wash of just water down to get the page wet to allow the paint to move around. And I'm mixing up a nice red base for the brick color. The light was a little bit less obvious given it was an overcast day, so I'm just sort of blocking out colors to start this. So I start with the red brick, and then you'll see I go into the green. I'm trying to be loose with it. This is not going to be a perfect sketch by any means. And so while the first layer is still wet, I'm trying to layer in different tones of red to get a variation in that base layer. And so I'm speeding up the video here. I'm still trying to get a handle on how I present these sketches. I've sort of taken the tack that they're kind of like cooking videos. Each video is its own dish. So it's a balance between showing the entire process and little snips along the way. But I figured I'd speed up proportions so you could see some mixing and how the drawing progresses without any cuts. But for the majority of the video, I kind of skip process to process. But let me know what you think. I struggle with the idea of doing an entire real-time sketch. I think it would be quite boring, but let me know if you'd like to see something like that. So there's a quick progress shot where I've got sort of the bases in. It looks quite muddy and jumbled. So this is where I like to go in again, rediscover the drawing, add a bit more line weight just to clarify things a little bit for myself. And I think being on location helps with getting on with it, not being precious about anything, just getting some lines down, trying to clarify some things, but don't have the time or the stability with the book balancing on my lap to really be super precise. And now going in kind of with the second layer of paint, while I was adding the line weight things, I was letting the page dry. So this is sort of where I got to on location, and then ran out of time and still wanted to push the sketch a little bit further. I thought there were some things that could pop a little bit more, could get a little bit more character into the sketch, and so I'm at home doing that. And now the page is completely dry, so I am wetting the page on top of the dried paint. And then you can see with my brush strokes here, I am a bit tentative, wanting to add some contrast to the drawing, but kind of unsure of where to do it. The lighting wasn't very dynamic that day, so I have to sort of invent it, but trying to recess those entry canopies, or the area below them rather, to give a bit of depth to the facade, and then adding some shadow to the dog and the man. And I go in with a number of layers into the tree, into the houses, to try to bring out some more shadows. And I don't get it in one go. I think I go over some of the green areas more than once. And I do struggle with trees and greenery and nature in general, how to balance big, nice wash where you get a lot of textures from the paint versus trying to add in each leaf and suggesting the forms of the leaves and the foliage. And I'm not entirely pleased with how this turned out. Like you can see my shadows are quite muddy from going back and forth, adding more layers of shadow into that. I do like the yellow. The dog was wearing a raincoat, and the man's umbrella, I thought were good elements to pop forward from the background. Now I'm going in with some more saturated colors, trying to pull in some noise and character from the neighborhood, the recycling bins, the street signs, trying to bring them forward without a ton of detail, but suggest the busyness of the street in the rain. And then big line weights are something that is near and dear to me. I still don't love building up the line weight with little pens. I'd love to get a pen that does all of that. And I go back over again with a big, thick pen. And I am adding some dots and some paint flicks just to add some character to the drawing. I don't want to rely on paint flicks and all of that, but I think it does help just layer in some character of the area and help the drawing. And that's my rainy day Roncesvalles sketch. Please let me know if you've enjoyed or if you have suggestions for future videos. Thanks so much for watching.